I was thinking, for people that support socialism, which is basically the pathway to communism, they're just not educated in economics, right? And unfortunately, the school system, university included, has been lying to people. They are confusing people. They're not explaining things correctly. So people they're never getting a chance to fully understand. So if you're a person that just doesn't have natural inquisitive tendencies, you're not really going to ever learn. You're not going to understand. Like, to me, it's very common sense, but unfortunately, common sense isn't really a common theme in today's society. A lot of people can't actually connect dots. They can, at maximum, maybe they can connect 2 dots, right? They can't go down the path of connecting all the dots, seeing the domino effect, and understanding how things work. A lot of people blame the collapse of our society and the fact that, housing is so expensive and inflation. They don't understand how that's actually taking place. They believe that's because of capitalism. They believe that those are evil corporations making everything really, really expensive. And that's quite the opposite of how it's working. So if you were to have a true capitalistic society, you would have... God, that guy just cut the fucking line driving on a corner. Like, people, stay on your side. Like, learn how to turn your freaking steering wheel. Okay, anyway, if you lived in a capitalistic society, like a pure capitalistic society with no socialism, that is the ultimate, freest, least expensive way to live. And back in the day, that's more so how we were. So if you think about it, and here's something, like, if you don't understand what I'm saying and you're like, no, that's not true, why is it the more programs we pay towards, the more taxes we pay, the more socialism that there is, why has everything been getting worse? If you go back decades, everything was better. How come with every single year of more socialism, and I'm speaking about Canada or any Western civilization that's doing the same program, which the United States is as well, why are things getting worse? Why are you seeing the costs go up? Why are you seeing more homeless? Why are you seeing more of the drug epidemic, more people addicted to drugs? Why are you seeing all those things if things are supposed to be getting better? Because we're paying so much taxes towards all these programs that are supposed to be solving those issues. Why does it seem the more money we pay, the worse everything is getting? You have to understand the connection. Now, if we lived in an absolute free capitalistic society, the way it was back in the day, more so, there was still taxes, but this is a better example. Like, the way how everything would thrive with pure capitalism is it offers you the most choice. So it actually brings more services to market, more product to market, so you have more choice. And then people need to compete, and competition is very healthy. So they would need to compete on product ingenuity. So their product would have to be the best. So it makes better products, quality items. They would want to compete on price as well, because they can't just compete on quality, they need to compete on price as well. So it brings the best of all worlds together, because a society, a pure capitalistic society, supports growth and it supports choice. Because it's such a supportive market, there's more opportunity. So more people come to market to sell goods, to sell services, to open up businesses. right? So you, as the consumer, gets the most choice. It also incentivizes good service, cleanliness, every single thing that makes a business better than the next business, right? It's the best for everyone. And businesses in a capitalistic society, a proper capitalistic society, not what we have, which is crony, fascist capitalism going on by the government, fascism, but a proper capitalistic society, what was I just going to say? It also, it makes everything the best of, and the businesses don't have to pay huge leases, so their margins are better, so they can offer you better because they have the room to do so. They have the room to give you a good quality product. They have the room to hire. Holy shit, did you hear the rock? Oh my god, what is this video? I'm sorry, you guys. There was like a crow or something that dropped something on my car. Did you guys hear that? That was insane. Okay, so because they have the margins, they have more room to hire more employees, to offer better service. They have more room to keep the hotel renovated. They have more room in the margins to keep the hotel nicely updated for you, to provide brand new mattresses or newer mattresses. They have the room to offer you a better quality food item, to offer you better quality everything, you know, because they have the room in the margins. But in today's society, because the government has clamped down so hard on every single thing, forcing people to pay high wages, forcing companies to pay high wages, forcing companies and businesses to pay high leases, companies, in order to make ends meet, they need to cut back. And who does that affect at the end of the day? It affects you, the consumer. So you're not getting a quality product or a quality service because the company doesn't have the room to offer that any longer. And also you're getting less competition because less businesses can make ends meet. So it's not that viable to start a business. It's not incentivizing business, you know? So like I said, in a true capitalistic society, you have a lot of competition, which brings the best to the consumer. But in a tight, clamped down society by the government where you pay really high taxes and leases and you have a lot of restrictions and all these things, there's going to be way less people entering that market because that is not a prosperous market. And therefore, you're stuck with the choices that there are with the people that are struggling to make ends meet, and businesses cannot thrive how they once could have and would have and would like to intend to. So that's why you're seeing the collapse of the West. And if we want to bring this to the housing market, well, the government has imposed so many restrictions on construction, for instance. There's a lot of permits involved. There's a lot of expenses involved. There's a lot of ways that you have to do things. You have to pay, you know, the government for all these different things. I don't know exactly what they are, but I know there's all these different things that builders now have to pay. Then the property has gone up so much, and there's a few reasons for that. One, the government keeps bringing in an insane amount of migrants and immigrants that the population, the infrastructure, and everything cannot meet. So it's driving prices up insanely, right? Then of course they like to blame that on you, and they like to blame that on landlords, but that's not true. Then they keep bringing up the property taxes like insanely high. Every year property taxes are going up, more and more. You know, and it's people, like, say for instance, if you're a landlord, because your costs have gone up so much and your electricity has gone up so much, all government regulated, now you have to pass that cost on to your tenant. also, you have to pass that cost on when you sell, because the property has gone up, the taxes have gone up, and you need your money back, because the loans, and another thing too, the loans cost so much money, right? So people just don't understand how it works. And then the government has all these restrictions on things, which is making it so much more money, for housing. And that's the reason why the housing has gone up. So my point of this video is big government equals low capitalism. Like pure capitalism cannot thrive with heavy government and social programs, socialism, right? It places a lot of restrictions, and it just makes it really hard for any business, any industry really to thrive. When there's huge taxes and whatever, it's really hard. And another part of this is the wages. A lot of people that don't understand how economics actually works, they think, I should get paid more, like this isn't fair, the cost of living, blah blah blah, like I should get paid more. But they don't understand, when you are paid more, who pays you more? The business you work at. Who owns that business? A person in society. So now they need to raise their prices to keep their margins up so that they can afford to live, because the government has now forced them to pay you more. So that's eating away at their margin. Now, so many businesses have gotten to a point they cannot afford to pay their employees as much as the government would like. And it's not that they don't want to, you guys. You don't understand. They just have a lot to pay for. They have a lot to pay for. Not only are all the taxes on everything they import is a lot of money, their operational expenses are a lot of money. Their lease payment, their electricity, whatever. Now they have to pay high wages, and their profit margin shrinking. Therefore, a lot of businesses are having to shut because of this. So the more wage increases, the less businesses you're going to see around, because business owners cannot make ends meet. So I know it sounds perfect and fairy tale and amazing, like pay me more, everything is expensive, I deserve to be paid more, everything's expensive. Sure, in a perfect world where that would work, yes, absolutely, better wages for sure. Life is expensive, I understand, but it just doesn't work when you think about it, when you connect all the dots. That's why businesses are failing. That's why the cost of everything's going up. So the more that the government forces employers to pay employees more, the more that the government is raising the minimum wage, the more a business needs to increase its prices. And that's across the board. So then when you are off work and you take your paycheck and you need to go shopping, everything's going to cost more. So just remember, the more the government forces businesses to pay higher wages, the more the cost of living is going to increase. So it doesn't matter. You're going to be paid more. Whatever you go to buy is going to cost more. So it's never going to work. You get paid more, cost of living goes up. You get paid more, cost of living goes up. Get paid more, you're never going to get a break, because there's too much government regulation. But if you had pure capitalism without all this government regulation, what would happen is you'd have opportunities at more businesses, because there'd be more businesses, there'd be more competition. If you don't like what you're getting paid at or getting offered at one job, you can go and seek out a different job, because there's going to be a ton of competition. Remember, capitalism breeds competition. Competition breeds choices. That's my video.